Before we even get into today's topic, I want to say this. Don't be scared of making mistakes with your own personal brand or online presence. Everyone slips up at some point, and I'm still figuring it out myself. What really matters is that you learn, adjust, and keep moving forward instead of freezing in fear. Now, with that in mind, we need to talk about the latest TikTok trend that's blowing up, and it centers around Hailey Bieber. People are labeling her a stalker, and it's turned into this huge meme where users joke about following their partners the way she allegedly followed Justin. Clips, stitches, and reaction videos are everywhere. But here's where it gets interesting. A reality TV star named Francesca claims this trend might not be as natural as it looks. According to her, some creators are actually being paid to post these videos and push a specific narrative about Hailey as some kind of creepy mastermind. That raises a serious question. Is this just silly internet humor, or is someone intentionally trying to drag a new mom through the mud? And honestly, what might be happening behind the scenes is even wilder than what you're seeing on your For You page. From what people have pieced together, the trend really took off after a long-form TikTok deep dive went viral. Instead of just one random clip, it was a whole series of videos and screenshots claiming Hailey was fixated on Justin long before they ever officially dated. The creator behind it pulled old fan photos, event footage, and sightings together to paint a picture of her showing up at concerts, hotel lobbies, and industry events where he was rumored to be. The way the story was told made it feel like a carefully calculated timeline, as if she had quietly mapped out her route into his orbit. Viewers weren't just interested in the facts. They were hooked by the storytelling style, which framed it all like a successful long game that worked, ending in their relationship, their marriage, and now their baby. Once that narrative caught on, the rest of TikTok ran with it. People started making their own spin-off videos joking about being the Hailey in their relationships. One popular format shows someone saying, "My partner thinks we met by fate," and then cutting to a clip of them scrolling through old messages, checking locations, or side-eyeing the camera as if they had been the one pulling the strings all along. In other versions, creators show a montage of all the times they just happened to be where their crush was. On the surface, people loved the humor. The vibe was chaotic, a little unhinged and very self-aware, mocking obsession while also laughing at their own behavior. It felt like just another messy, entertaining internet joke. But that easygoing attitude shifted quick when Francesca stepped in and gave her side of the story. She claimed that what we were seeing might not be purely organic at all, but part of something more coordinated, with actual money behind it. According to her, she was approached with an offer to post a TikTok using a specific audio and referencing the Hailey stalker trend. The suggested angle was to lean into the joke, basically, to present herself as someone who plotted out her relationship just like the memes suggest Hailey did. But Francesca says she turned it down. Why did she refuse? Because to her, it didn't feel like harmless fun anymore. She felt it crossed a line, especially since Hailey is a new mother. Joking lightly about your own clingy behavior is one thing. Getting paid to amplify a trend that frames a real person as a manipulative stalker is something very different. Francesca explained that the trend might appear lighthearted and silly, but once money gets involved, it stops being just a meme and starts becoming a targeted narrative. At that point, it can slide into cruelty. Her decision not to participate was basically her way of saying, "I'm not comfortable turning someone else's personal life into a paid joke." She also gave a bit of insight into how these paid trends actually work. Behind the scenes, it's very common for artists, companies, or marketing agencies to reach out to creators and ask them to make content using a particular sound, phrase, or video format. The goal is always the same: get something to go viral. Sometimes it's a dance, sometimes a skit, sometimes just lip-syncing a certain line so that audio starts popping up everywhere. A lot of these campaigns happen quietly through private DMs, emails, or managers. That means the average viewer usually has no idea that what looks like a random, funny trend is actually part of a coordinated push. Not every video is sponsored, of course, but enough of them can be guided that it shapes what you constantly see on your feed. So when Francesca said she was offered money to join this Hailey trend, it made people wonder if this was one of those behind-the-scenes pushes. Was someone deliberately trying to keep the stalker narrative alive? Or did a marketing team simply see a viral joke and decide to hop on it, without understanding how harsh it might feel when stacked on top of everything else Hailey has dealt with? That's where the speculation really began. Some viewers started to ask, did someone actively set out to smear Hailey? Or was this just a careless attempt to ride a viral wave that ended up looking nasty? Either way, from that moment on, the trend didn't feel purely funny anymore. It became a question of intent. After Francesca's comments started circulating, online discussion went into overdrive. People began tossing out theories about who might be behind these kinds of offers. Some mentioned over-invested fan groups, others suspected random industry people trying to capitalize on drama for attention. But the honest truth is, nobody actually knows. There's no public receipt that clearly proves exactly who was orchestrating what. It reminded a lot of people of earlier social media disasters, where brands tried to force themselves into conversations they didn't fully understand. For example, there was a time when a big entertainment company jumped into a meme that was meant to highlight hidden romantic relationships, but they used a pair of characters who were literally siblings. They clearly didn't get the context, and the internet dragged them for it. The takeaway from situations like that is simple. Trends are easy to misunderstand. Even if the intention isn't outright malicious, carelessness can still look cruel, especially when the joke lands on a real, living person instead of a fictional character. With Hailey, the stakes feel much higher. This isn't just a random meme about a generic crazy ex. It's a story about obsession and stalking that's being projected onto an actual human being with a family. And because the paid campaign angle can't be fully confirmed or denied, everyone is left guessing about who, if anyone, is pulling strings behind the scenes. As more people reacted to Francesca's comments, she eventually expanded on her thoughts in more detail. Instead of just a quick off-the-cuff remark, she later posted longer explanations on her social accounts and talked about it in more depth, tying it to a bigger issue, media literacy. She said that what really bothered her was how easily online rumors, half-truths, and edited narratives can spread, and how quickly they harden into facts in people's minds. Francesca also opened up about the personal cost that comes with speaking out. She said that whenever she shares her honest opinions, she often gets hit with a wave of backlash, from intense fan bases, from people who misinterpret her point, or from trolls who just want to be cruel. That constant negativity had made her more hesitant to post in general, even when she felt something online was unfair or mean-spirited. She mentioned that she had already been uploading less content because the hate was draining her enjoyment of creating. The only thing keeping her going was the reminder that there are still supportive followers who appreciate honesty and nuance instead of drama for drama's sake. Through all of this, her main message stayed consistent. Some trends, even the ones that look like harmless jokes, can become genuinely hurtful when they target real people, especially new mothers who are already under huge emotional and physical pressure. Her follow-up was a reminder that behind every viral meme is a human being with feelings, a family, and a breaking point. Meanwhile, Hailey Bieber herself has stayed completely silent about the trend. And frankly, that makes sense. She's a new mom, dealing with the realities of parenthood while already living under a microscope. Commenting directly on the meme could easily pour more fuel on the fire and give the trend even more visibility. Her silence hasn't stopped the internet from arguing, though. Some people defend her and say it's unfair and cruel to attack a new mother over a meme storyline. Others keep dissecting her past actions, body language, and old clips as if they're solving a mystery. Social media can be relentless when it locks onto a narrative, especially if that narrative portrays someone as unstable, obsessed, or calculating. The combination of being famous, postpartum, and the center of a viral trend makes her particularly vulnerable to criticism, even when the narrative is built on exaggerations, biased interpretations, or flat-out misinformation. On top of that, parasocial relationships make it worse. Fans who feel deeply connected to celebrities can become fiercely protective of one and hostile toward another, turning real lives into fandom battlegrounds. It also raises a bigger conversation about how we treat public figures in general. The same platforms that celebrate their achievements and style can instantly flip and become spaces of judgment, rumor, and harassment. One day you're praised for your outfit, the next day you're the punchline of a global joke. Hailey's choice to say nothing highlights a hard truth. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Even when millions of people are talking about you, refusing to feed the narrative can be the only real control you have left. All of this leads to a much broader question. How much of what we see online is truly organic, and how much is being nudged, guided, or straight up manufactured? Paid campaigns are everywhere, sometimes to promote a song, sometimes a product, sometimes just to make a piece of audio the next big thing. On their own, that's not automatically wrong. But when these efforts collide with a real person's reputation, the impact can be intense. Even trends that start out as harmless jokes can spiral into full-on harassment if people don't understand the context, or if they simply don't care. A single TikTok, even meant as a lighthearted meme, can rack up millions of views and spawn countless copycats. When money gets involved, the lines blur even more, because content stops being just genuine reaction and becomes part of someone's strategy. At that point, a viral trend isn't only entertainment anymore, it's a tool that shapes how we collectively see someone. It can define a celebrity in the public imagination for years. This is why media literacy is more important than ever. As viewers, we need to pause before we share, like, or comment on content that could be misleading or unnecessarily cruel. We need to ask, do I actually know the full story? Could this be edited to push a certain angle? Am I piling onto a real person for the sake of a joke? The Hailey Bieber trend is a perfect example of how quickly a meme can turn into something darker, and how easily a paid or poorly understood campaign can fuel online drama. It's a reminder that the internet is not just a place for laughs and quick entertainment. It has real-world consequences for people's mental health, relationships, and sense of safety. So what can we really take away from all this? This TikTok trend started as a viral joke about stalking and obsession, grew into a meme people used to poke fun at their own behavior, and then morphed into a conversation about whether creators were being paid to keep a negative narrative alive. Francesca's comments pulled back the curtain a little, showing us that influencers are sometimes asked to push content that can intentionally or accidentally target real people in very personal ways. Hailey's silence, especially as a new mom, shows how draining and invasive this kind of attention can be. It's not just about one celebrity, one app, or one fandom. It's about the bigger system of how social media shapes stories, spreads rumors, and blurs the line between entertainment and harassment. It's also a reminder that trends can be deceptive, whether they're paid for or not, and that every share, every stitch, every comment contributes to the spotlight on someone's real life. So here's the question for you. Do you believe this trend grew naturally, or do you think someone is deliberately keeping it alive? And maybe even more importantly, what responsibility do we each have as viewers before we jump on the next viral joke? Think about it, the internet moves fast, but our awareness, empathy, and critical thinking can move faster if we let them.